What is it about these spider leg style shallow water anchors that makes them useful? Are they really that much better than the spud pole design? Do they need a linear actuator or hydraulic motor to be effective? Or can they just be deployed manually in a cheap, lightweight option? And when they are activated, do they work better than spud pole designs? Do they hold tight to the ground and readjust as you move? All these questions answered in this video, starting now. We are no stranger to shallow water anchor designs. We have made a lot of them ourselves. Some of the earliest videos can be shown with us trying to replicate ones with linear actuators, but eventually resorting to just ones that were simply manual, just due to how problem-free and easily adaptive they are. But viewers are constantly comparing these style anchors to micro anchors, and deeming that micro anchors are the dominant component for small boats like these. Well, so having used both of these extensively, I think they're both great. Both have strengths over the other, so there is no real winner. There is really just preference. So I'll be talking to you about the key characteristics of both of these designs. So based on your boating style and preferences, you can make the best decision. We've recently paired with a company that have a extremely good design for these manual shallow water anchors and can also keep up with the demand of the consumer. They're extremely lightweight. They weigh almost nothing. They have a full aluminum chassis with a fiberglass pole, which is pretty much the optimal design for something like these. Because of the design, they're ultra stiff, much stiffer than a spud pole design like the micro anchor, which is all fiberglass, so there's tons of flex. They have a light duty shock piston inside for constant pressure downward. That was a big question from everybody. How do you get these to dig or pressure downward? Well, there isn't a whole lot of dig because you still need to pull these things up manually, but there is enough pressure to constantly keep them downward in such a way that were better than previous designs that we have associated with. For normal install, they go just like this, right on the back of a transom, and they stick straight out, and they grab really well. Two of them work optimally in this fashion. But I'm gonna go ahead and enhance this design so that they flare out spider leg style, kind of like how the normal bass boats have them. I'm going to accomplish this by fabricating brackets that attach right here to this on-the-fly jack plate. For those of you who are not familiar with this jack plate, it is the first of its kind to manually go up and down on the fly as you're motoring out. And we will be pairing this with two manual shallow water anchors. So the whole system back there will be manual. No electrical problems, no blown relays, no hydraulic failures, no rigging. You just put them on, and as long as your arm works, they work. So it's gonna always work. Get it? In order to accomplish this, we're gonna have to get longer hardware. All right, I just have these pieces of angle temporarily installed with this hardware, and this is just slightly longer than the other hardware, enough to compensate for this like 3/16 gap, so they end up fitting flush like they used to without protruding. Not that protruding would actually even matter. They could stick a little bit out, nothing is going to hit it. And so then when we have these mounted, then we'll be able to attach. I was wondering if I would attach them here to come out. I think the farther I attach them out here, the less likely the motor will be able to turn and smack them, the more they're centered away. And then plus it would just also be easier to build them that way. But there's a good chance if I build them here, they'll start to drag in the water. Well, they might do that anyways. I'll just try to make them from here on out, like just not hang down too much. And then I might have to trim this like this. I don't want any unnecessary drag. All right, here they are. It's got a kind of a flare out design that kind of made them kind of cosmetically astute. I'm gonna have to put some sort of support. Really, I'm gonna have to add a plate here. I made it so like the holes line up right on the tubes, and you can go right in the tubes and line it up that way. I spaced them out. I'll be making markers. I'll be making some marks with a Sharpie here, making marks right here to make these flare down so they catch the least water. Same thing over here. Got a lot of crude welds just to make it happen. You know, I'll be probably putting gussets. We'll be putting a gusset that runs from the top of this way. We will for sure be doing that. And then another gusset in between these sections, like in between the bolt sections. Probably one there. Probably only need two. One at the top and then one definitely here. They are, I don't know if you can tell, but they are definitely straight. 100% straight. I want you to check these guys out. Paying attention to my dirty garage. But that is awesomeness right there. So now that we have the brackets made, these quick release mounts are what's going to make this key. There's a lot of big complaints about how once those anchors are installed back there, you can't get them off easily. Well, Lewmar made quick release brackets that are pretty easy. It's 2 bolts and that anchor comes right out of that slot with a quickness. So it's very important for people who have garages that are shallow like this one and the boat sits on the trailer too tall for them to clear. You can take them off now and store them anywhere. And again, these anchors are comically light. They do not look as light as they actually are. I just want to emphasize that probably a small child can carry both of those around with no problem. Oh yeah, those are way in the water. Yeah. We're gonna have to raise those. The good thing is there's no more leaks, because there was obscene amounts of leaks and I welded all the holes, but those are definitely in the water pretty bad. Well, I think a lot of the bass boat ones hang in the water too, but they plane just fine. So let's see how these do under pressure, because the water is definitely gonna grab them until the boat is out of the hole. It's a stripper?
Nope. It's a greenie.
Oh, nice.
Not bad at all.
What, 3?
I'd say 2, 3. It's definitely full.
Yeah. Hey guys, I just caught one. Richard and I just caught.
Back to back.
I would say that this one is probably bigger than Richard's.
Hey, whatever. We don't have a scale, so we don't know.
Hey there, sweetheart. Dude, that is pushing 4, but it's still definitely a 3.
That's 2.
Oh, that is 2. 3 plus pounders right there.
Ooh! She's hefty.
That's definitely...
That's 3, 4.
That is definitely a 4 all day. That's maybe...
They got that summer body. They're not...
So they have 2 methods of activation. One is a quick release rubber grommet that folds over the anchor and holds them in place that you can just pull and release off a little bracket. And then there's this lanyard that you actually use to deploy them and retrieve them. I would have both of those secure while you're under power just for safety reasons. I would never rely strictly on the rubber grommet to hold it all. But my biggest concern was that the anchors were going to drag as low as they were, but once the boat was out of the hull, they were fine. They never once acted like they were going to accidentally deploy or fail. So they just stayed right there. So let's compare these to the all notorious micro anchor, which I'm a major fan of and have on my personal boat. For one, I like that you can take those poles out and just get them out of the way and then stow them whenever you need to. So that makes it quite convenient. The micro anchor motors are also very nice. They work well and they're small, lightweight, compact, removable, and just more or less always out of the way. Seems like almost the perfect design. And if the motors alone could carry that design, then it would probably be unbeatable. But it always results back to the major problem with the spud pole designs. It's the spud pole itself. Motorized or manual, all the pressure and flex from the boat moving in the water is put right on that whole spud pole. So 8-foot anchor is about what you're going to get. So roughly about 6 to 6.5 foot penetration depending on the transom height and where you mount those. They will flex and turn everywhere, and the deeper you have to deploy them, the more they will flex. To their credit, they still hold, but if the wind shifts, your boat will probably shift also. They also cannot readjust with wave fluctuation unless you're constantly on the remote. So if a wave comes along that was bigger than the set water where you anchored, then it will push you off until it levels out. Then you'll catch again, but you'll be a foot off, 2 feet, 3 feet. So waves are not a micro anchor's friend. Now, these on the other hand, waves can come all day and they flex and readjust with the waves and the water going up and down. So it doesn't matter, they'll hold. The preload pushing down from the strut is obviously not going to be as impressive as the micro anchor motor, but I've used one similar to these with no gas prop, and they still held pretty well. It's just they got to be down there and they naturally dig into the sand or the soil. Obviously they don't dig into rocks, but neither do micro anchors. They take a bit more effort to stow and deploy because they're manual, but there's no rigging or wiring or batteries you have to buy. Another thing is they say that these are the exact same cost as the Lewmar anchors. They are not. Only the motor is. You still have to buy the spud poles, and those are extra $100 a piece, way more if you want longer spud poles, and you still have to wire it and get all of that stuff, or the batteries, and the batteries are not cheap either. So they're closer to $1,000 when it's all said and done. Still, they're very nice and they work great, even on a boat that size. So it's just up to preference, guys. I hope this video helps you out in your determination. Either way, these Lewmar Vector anchors are friggin' awesome, and I'm so glad to have them on our store. Check them out, tvnation.net, search Lewmar Vector or Axis if you want the electronic ones. See you out there.